Haha. Okay, hey everyone, let me know if you can see and hear me. I know I was just on mute there for a minute, so yeah. Um, I know the countdown is still counting down, so let me know if you can see and hear me. Let me know in the comments below. There is a lag time I see on here, so let me know. There's a lag time. Oh, I love tech so much. Awesome. I'm gonna wait a few more moments until my video catches up with itself. All right, yay. Perfect. Awesome, awesomeness. Let me know if you're here. I kind of feel like I'm mumbling a little bit. So I'm actually somewhere else. Let me hold the mic up here. I'm actually live somewhere else, which is very fun. So I'm not in my usual home setup, which, it's nice to have two screens, but I also like coming on live in different settings because, of course, that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. But I feel like I'm whispering. Let me know if you guys can hear me. If you're here, I would love to know. Let me make sure I'm not yelling. Awesome. Okay, the comments is over there, so I can see it over there. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this live show. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I did. I hung out with my mom. We went to flea markets, and it was amazing. So let me know in the comments what you did this weekend, so I know that you're here. And we're going to go ahead and get started because this is actually going to be a shorty one. But today's episode is going to be on how you can promote your podcast without using social media. So, social media is great for getting a lot of eyeballs on your and listeners on your podcast. I am not knocking that at all. But sometimes that can get a little redundant or boring, or it could become a little bit too much. So I'm actually going to show you 4 ways that you can actually promote your podcast that is not social media. Social media is more offline or communicating like face to face with people and just let them know about your podcast. So the first one is actually you can tell people about your podcast network events. So cool trick you can actually do. You can actually go on Canva and create a QR code and add your podcast link. And then when you're out and about, you're talking to people, you're telling them about your podcast, you can actually pull up that QR code, and then that way they can take a picture of it, and then they can actually subscribe to your podcast. Genius, I know, right? So you can do that, and you can do that whenever you're like day to day. If you're talking to people are like, what do you do? You can say, hey, I have a podcast, and would you like to sign up to subscribe? You can have that available as well. They can take a picture of the QR code, and then they can sign up to follow you. So that's another way you can actually get listeners and followers for your podcast. And number two, you can be a guest. Be a guest on other people's podcasts, which is so much fun. But where exactly do you find people to actually be on your to, for you to be on their podcast? So you can actually go into Facebook groups, like your current Facebook group. There's people all the time who's launching their podcast now and who are looking for guests for their first couple of episodes. It's a gold mine. So go into groups, see if people are looking for guests. There is a free group that you can join. It's called Podcast Find a Guest, Be a Guest Collaboration. You can actually join that group for free, and people are asking for guests all the time. They're asking to be on podcasts. It's a really great free resource. They also have a podcast collab group that you can join as well. So you can do that also, but go on other people's podcasts, and the call to action can be, hey, listen to my podcast and give the give the host the link to your podcast so she or she can add them to the show notes. You can actually do that, and you don't have to promote on social media and actually be evergreen on their podcast so that people can sign up. So that's why I love podcasting, because it stays on there forever and it doesn't like pop out all of a sudden. Um, the next thing is number three, your tribe or your circle. So we all have people that we connect with, people that we collaborate with. Get maybe about 5 or 10 people that you connect or you collaborate with, and you can, hey Lisa, and you can ask them, hey, I'm just launching my podcast, or I already have a podcast. I'm just launching my podcast, and I would like to know if you can post my podcast and give them the graphics, what to say, everything. So all they have to do is just copy and paste, upload and post, so that they can post it to their social media, so they can post it to their email list, so they can share with their tribe, their group. So, and then give them like a $5 Starbucks gift card. Okay. You don't realize, but you just built a little mini marketing team right there. So get 5 people, 5 to 10 people that you know, send them an email, say, hey, I'll give you a Starbucks gift card, Amazon gift card, whatever, for about $5, and say, hey, can you post this on your social media, or can you post this on your email list? You can definitely do that. And then when they post that, will actually generate traffic to your podcast. Okay. Um, Hey Lisa, let me know if you have any questions, and let me know if you can hear me too. I'm like located somewhere else, so that's why it may seem like I'm mumbling. And the last one that people don't tend to talk about this platform, and it's not a social media platform, but Pinterest. Pinterest is really good because it's like a search engine. It's evergreen content as well. It's not a social media platform at all, but what you can use it for is you could create a pin for your podcast episode, and you can pin it on there. I'm not exactly sure as like how like ads work for it. I know it is a lower cost, but I would say just create a pin for each one of your episodes, or if you want to just do one pin for maybe your podcast launch, you can definitely do that. I always tell a story about how Sally Betters, she was on my podcast, and I forget what episode it was, but her episode became like in the beginning of me starting my podcast, it became the top podcast, um, uh, top rated podcast, top episode. And I was like, what's going on? I'm like, I know I showed it on social media and everything, but her podcast episode was always number one on my top episodes. Until finally, I went on Pinterest, and I think she tagged me on Pinterest, and she created a pin of the episode that she was on, and had a picture of me as well, and the link to the podcast episode. And I was like, oh, wow, game changer. So create a Pinterest pin for your podcast episode and just let it sit there, and it will start generating traffic. I started doing that with try to do that with all my episodes. I just couldn't keep up. It was just like I had to recreate a pin for the social media, that it was just too much. But it does help, and it stays on there. I still have people actually looking and clicking on the links through Pinterest to actually listen to the podcast episode. So it was like, oh my gosh. So it definitely utilize Pinterest. No one talks about it that much, but it is a great platform and a tool. Okay. So that's all I have today. So if you're not a part of the group, She Launches Podcast. She Launches Podcast. Go ahead and check us out. Join, and we have fun here. I help you with your podcast launch. Any questions you have, you can ask anything. You can go live. You can post any questions. If you currently have a podcast, you can definitely post the links there. If you have new episodes coming out, you can definitely post it in the group. This is not a stricted group. This is a group for you. Okay. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I know this is a really short live, and I have to, since I'm somewhere else, it's kind of like I have to like be quiet a little bit. But let me know if you have any questions. If not, then I'll go ahead and end this show. All right. So I don't see any questions. You all have a wonderful day. And again, posting the group. Let's see. Oh, Lisa, what questions do I ask for my client interview? So it totally depends. For instance, for example, for me, I actually have a consistent questions flow for each guest. Um, you can ask. Okay, so let me tell you what I do. So what I do is, in the beginning, I introduce them. I tell them to say who you are and what you do. Can you remember a time in your business or in your life where you had a hello moment? Let's talk about the inspiration behind you starting your business and what was that like for you. Um, I ask them, do you have any last minute advice? And then we wrap it up with that. So I have a total of 3 questions that I ask, which is the reason why my podcast is only like 20-25 minutes long. And I like to keep that way to for consistency. Now, if I'm really into a conversation, I will ask follow-up questions. It's good to have a steady list of questions that you ask all the time. Sometimes it could be a little redundant, but it kind of like helps you stay on track to help you stay on flow. So that's the reason why I keep the questions that I have. Um, but if I'm like really, really into it, then I will ask some follow up questions, and the podcast normally can get longer. So it depends on your niche. It depends on what is it that you want to ask them. And I actually, of course, I have some templates that I'm working on now for questions to ask your guests. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. My debut guest uh, appearances. Do I need a sign up paperwork? So okay, so when you request guests, do you need to sign up paperwork? Yes, you do. You want to have them fill out some type of form. Now, I'm not going to tell you to create a form. What I'm going to do is, if you're using Calendly, I will say use the Calendly form to actually create like ask for their name, business, website, social media handles like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever they have. Don't make it required, but if they have it available, definitely have them put that in there. You definitely want to have them have their website on there as well. Um, they need to fill out their bio. You want to ask them what are their topics that they want to discuss and 3 main points. And the reason why I say do it like this is because you're using that information as part of your show notes. So all you have to do is just copy and paste. You don't have to like write out any show notes or anything like that. When you have it set like that, then all you have to do is just say, in today's episode, we have da 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 da. You put their bio there, copy and paste from the Calendly link form, and then you put their information below it and any promos that they have, and you're done. So keep it simple like that. But definitely to start off with, for a form, I would definitely say the Calendly link and then add questions onto when you setting up that particular scheduler for your podcast. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. Keep it simple. Like, have your main questions, like maybe 3 or 4 questions. Lisa, in your case, since you're into menopause and perimenopause, you may want to ask a few more questions because that's more of an in depth conversation that you will be having with people. And we're talking about people health and everything. So people want detailed information. So you may want to add like maybe 4 or 5 questions for yours if you're going to have guests, just so that they can kind of like dive deep and go deeper into their topics that they're going to do. So you definitely, and another thing is you don't have to create like come up with questions all the time. Normally, your guest is actually going to tell you what they're going to talk about. Make sure you have that on the form. Then that way you can actually formalize your questions according to what they're going to talk about. So if they say, well, my topics is women's hormones, what type of foods to eat to help with your hormones, what type of teas or beverage to drink with your like to help with your hormones, then you can ask follow up questions like, what do you think is the best way to like different exercises or something? Follow up questions like that if they're going like down that route. I hope that makes sense. Please let me know if that makes sense. But great question, Lisa. Thank you so much. All right. Awesome. I'm gonna wait a few more minutes because there's like a weird lag time, especially in my location. So I'm gonna wait a few more minutes to see if you guys have any questions. Let's see. Yay! Awesome, awesome. So we are going to wrap up, and let's see. Next week we're going to talk about. Aha! Don't make this mistake and launch a podcast without doing this first. Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Oh, Lisa, you asked better to record or do a live. It's better to do a recording. Now, if you're doing some sort of live show, now, okay, so here's the thing. um, time. Uh, it depends on your guest time because if you're doing like a live show like I do weekly, they will have to conform to your time in a way because it's a live show. Some people's schedules is all messed up or they're all like everywhere. They can't do it on the days that you have. So you want to make sure that you have some sort of flexibility. But I would say don't do it live. Do a pre-recorded, like a pre-recorded Zoom. That is the easiest thing to do. Everybody know how to use Zoom, so use Zoom. Give them the link when you sign up for Calendly, or if you already have a Calendly and it's linked to your Zoom. Sorry for the noise in the background, and is linked to your Zoom, then that link will automatically show, and then they will automatically get the reminders with the link included. That is the best way to go to do a Zoom recording. And then they will pick the time for that's best for their schedule, and then you can be recording and pre recording. I still do it to this day, and that's how I literally start my podcast. It's the best way. Um, this will be in a studio conversation. Ah, the V table, huh? Okay, so for you, um, you have to sit and like really think about since it's live. I would definitely let your guests know, hey, I have a live show that happens every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Would you like to come on? These are the dates that I have. Okay, and then they can actually sign up for those dates. Do it that way if you want to do it live. Okay, yes, the V table. I know about the V table. Yes, so just let them know. You know, it's fun when it's live and you have a guest on there because people can actually interact and ask them questions. Give or take, it will be a little longer. And if you're going to post it on like the audio on the back end, the platform, like something like Buzzsprout or something like that, or Spotify for podcasters. If you're going to edit it, keep that in mind. But if you just want to go ahead and just be like, hey, I'm going to keep it raw, the whole thing, you just upload it to either one of those platforms that you're going to use. So, yeah, awesome. Yeah, let me know if you have any more questions. And like I said, next week, live show is going to be Don't Make This Mistake and Launch Your Podcast Without Doing This First. And I'm so excited for this topic. Awesome. So I'm going to wait a few more minutes or a few more seconds. Awesome. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna hop off. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay. Let me know if you have any questions. I can definitely answer them. And everyone have a wonderful day. The next time, don't worry. The next time I come back on live, it'll be a better setup. But hey, this is entrepreneur life, right? All right, everyone, take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye.